Good day, everybody. It is your guy, Deric Durden here on the Build Your Best Life platform. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Coach Deborah Smith for allowing me to share my message tonight about a very touchy topic. We're talking about fathers and sons. And in this topic, and in this message, I want to give y'all 5 tips that every father should hear. And before I go into that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Deric Durden. I am a speaker, coach, mentor, somebody who's really into the community and really sharing, speaking at different conferences. But I'm also on the board and I'm also the team life director of the nonprofit organization Torch. Torch stands for Tackling Oppositions Through Resilience, Character, and Heart. This nonprofit organization is an organization that is helping teenagers transition from high school into college and even to the workforce. And so the topic that we're talking about tonight is something that's very touching to me because it helped shape a lot of my life. The presence or the absence of a presence of a father can be the the foundation to whether a child's life go in a positive direction or in a negative direction. And so for me, I remember like growing up without my dad, especially in those younger years. As I got older, he started to come around, but by that time, the hole that was in my heart from both of my parents not being in my life has already been set. Really, it was a big void that even through my teenage years that I was trying to fill with a lot of things that were not healthy or even helpful in my journey into transitioning to being a healthy adult. And so when we talk about the 5 tips that every father should hear, I really want to start off with one that really just sets the stage for each other every one of the other ones. And that one is lead by example. So many fathers, I think sometimes we just as fathers we kind of take that for granted. Especially people in my era when we grew up in the do as I say, not as I do era. That was something that was promoted. That was something that was instilled in us. But that did not work, obviously, because we know and understand as children, especially as sons, we look up to our fathers. They are our number one, our first role models that we try to emulate and imitate. So the statement of do as I say, not as I do, it's not only an oxymoron, it also makes the person that says it a hypocrite. And so for me, just leading by example is saying, if my son was to walk in my shoes and turn out to be the man that I am today, would I be proud of that? Would I be able to say, I am glad my son turned out the same way I did? And as parents, a lot of times we have that thought in our mind. We don't want our children to go through what we went through. We don't want our children to make some of the same mistakes that we made. And the best way to even set them up to be on the best path not to make those mistakes is to lead by example, by exemplifying the lessons that you learned along the way from making those mistakes. And then also, not only making them and changing, but actually talking to them about it. Really just sharing with them and being open and honest with them to say, hey, young man, it's okay to make mistakes. I made mistakes. And these are some of the mistakes that I made. These are some of the decisions that I made. And this is how my life turned out because of these. And so when you break it down that way, you're not telling them what to do. You're giving them a path. You're giving them opportunity. You're giving them the chance to make their own decisions. And that is more empowering than for you to tell them what to do or what not to do. Because we know and understand our words go so far, but our actions are really the most important foundation to what they will exemplify. So tip number one is definitely, hands down, second to none, lead by example. The number two principle or tip that I will share is your presence is more important than your presence. I'm gonna say that one more time. Your presence is more important than your presence. Okay, when I say presence that is most important, I'm talking about you being there. Just actually being an active part in that child's life. Being able to build a relationship, build a bond, and connect with that child gives you a better opportunity in order to guide them. We hear time and time again, people want to know how much you care before they care how much you know. And yes, it's overstated. It's said over and over. It's very repetitive, but it's repetitive because of the truth and the value that's inside that message. In order for you really to connect, for you to really have a relationship, in order to advise, the statement says that just came to my head is you got to have their heart before you can hold their hand. Yeah, before you can really show them what to do, you're gonna have to, touch them and know and let them feel and understand that you are really in tune with them, that you care about them, that you are invested in them before they even take the time to even listen to you. Yes, as parents, sometimes we force, oh, this is my house, these are my rules, such and such and so forth. But there's a difference between respect and following by force. It's a big difference between following by force and following by choice. When you have somebody who chooses to follow you, it's because you exemplify certain qualities that they respect, that they admire. And so they take it upon themselves to say, you know what, this person is worth following. But if you force them to, then that's when the resentment, that's when the hatred comes along later on down the line, when they actually have the opportunity to, quote unquote, start to build their own identity. And that's what we see a lot of times in the household where children start out to be pretty good, but then their rebellion starts to come out in the later teen years because they feel forced. Like they don't have choices. Because as parents, sometimes we know and understand that uh, we're doing and providing. And it goes right back to tip number two. Your presence is more than your presence. When we're talking about presence, we're talking about being there. When we talk about presence, we're talking about financial gifts. Because we have some fathers who have the ideal in their mind that, hey, if I pay child support, that's all I got to do. I lift my hands up. I pay these people every month, pay this check. If they take this money out of my check every month, that's all I got to do. That's all the court ordered me to do. That's selfish. That child needs your presence more than they need your presence. That child needs you to be there more than they need your money. They need you to give them things that money can't buy. But lo and behold, a lot of us have that mindset that we can buy love. We can pay for whatever we need to pay for. And we even have that in some of our outside relationships. But that does not build healthy relationships. Buying love, putting our presence, our money, our financial means before actually being there and being connected and building a bond sets a stage for a very weak relationship. So let's tip into number three. Teach them how to feel, not just how to fight. In today's time, we know and understand that emotional intelligence and mental health are a lot of the catchphrases, even though they have very much a lot of importance. But we really have to dive into it. We really have to be applicable when we're talking about these things. When we talk about feelings, because in today's time, a lot of these young men are being raised by women and they are more in tune with their feminine side, their emotions, more than a rational side with their minds. And so that's why it's so important to be there so you can teach these young men how to think and also feel. Yes, they should be in touch with emotions. They should know and understand that, hey, it's okay to feel what you feel. I know growing up, oh, men don't cry, men don't do this. But then you see men who grow up with this emotional baggage, this heaviness within themselves, and they continue to even go into relationships and suffer in silence because they were told that it's not okay to cry, it's not okay to feel, it's not okay to have emotions. But that's the farthest thing from the truth. You're supposed to have emotions, but you're supposed to have enough mental capacity, rationale in order to handle both the emotion with the mental. And they work together. Once they work together and not one overriding the other, then that's when you can go into making some effective decisions, some healthy decisions. Because it's important that we know and understand that those decisions, that life is made up of decisions. It's a continuous cycle of decision making. That's what life is made of. And so when we're teaching these young men about both the mental and the emotional side, we are giving them the tools that they need in order to be successful and healthy young men, being able to feel and also think in order to make the best decision, especially in those tough times. Next, we're going to step into tip number 4: speak life into them. It's enough going on in today's society that these young men need to hear some positive stuff. And they hear these rap songs talking about drill music, how to kill and rob, steal, sell drugs, how to get to the bag. But it's our job in the household, so they don't have to go out to them streets to find value. If we give it to them in the home, then they don't have to search for value in the streets. They don't have to search for value in the gangs. They don't have to search for value in the females because you've already deposited that into them. You have told them numerous of times that, hey, you are good enough as you are. You don't have to compete. You don't have to compare in order to feel valuable because you are enough as you are. It's important that we continue to pour these things, these thoughts, these affirmations into these young men because as we look at society today with the school shootings, with the gang violence, with so much going on out here in society, that they're doing it for a reason. They're getting something out of it because if they wouldn't be doing it. So, what is it that they're really getting out of this? Acceptance, attention. Then they post it on social media, get their likes up, get their views up. And so that attention becomes bad behavior is rewarded. Then they continue to do it. Then they see one kid doing it. Oh man, well, if I want to become popular, if I want to go viral, let me do something negative. Let me get out here and post with guns. Let me show my money. Let me do all these negative things, but it's because they're chasing something, because they're missing something, something that they could have got at home, but the absence of our fathers, the not paying attention, not spending that quality time. As an individual who works with teens through the nonprofit organization that I'm a part of, there's a number one thing that all most teens talk about. If I ask them what is the thing that will make a difference in their lives, 9 times out of 10, normally 10 times out of 10, they say the same thing. They don't feel heard. A lot of times as parents, especially in today's age, we give them a phone, we give them an iPad, they go into their room and they get in their own world. But we don't spend that quality time with them. We don't connect with them on their level. We don't do things with them that they enjoy. We're so busy trying to provide and protect and do all those other things, but they need you there. They need to pour into you because they're consuming so much stuff from social media. They're consuming so much stuff at school. They're consuming so much stuff. They need to express, they need to talk about some of these things in order to go through that process of processing all the information that they're taking in. Who else is going to help them? Who is more fit? Who will care about them as much as you do in order to give them the proper advice to help them walk through and talk through that information that they're taking in to really get them to a level that they can be happy, successful, and productive. I don't think that it's no person than a parent who's more fit, more suitable to take that time out, more equipped, because that's the person who, as again as we say, that our sons are looking up to us as fathers for the ones who are actually there. And before I go any further, any man who's there for his children, any man who's actually being a father, because a lot of time that goes unnoticed. We hear a lot about the deadbeat dads or the guys who's not there, who left after the pregnancy and during the pregnancy and all that. But the men who are actually stepping up and really being fathers to their children, sometimes even single fathers, they get overlooked, they get undervalued. But right now, I say, man, salute to you guys, man. You guys are doing something and playing your role, playing your position to the T. Y'all are really stepping up and stepping out and really helping these young individuals in a way that a lot of men not able to do or not willing to do. Let me say that. And the last, I'm gonna go to the next one. The last one is be careful how you treat their mothers. I know a lot of fathers probably don't think that that's important, but the truth of the matter is how you treat that son's mother is probably how he's going to treat the women in his life. How you treat his mother gives him the idea of how he should treat his mother. So if you disrespecting or if you handling his mother in a negative way, what you think he gonna do when you're not around? Just think about that. But also, not only that, you showing him how to treat women in general. If you're mishandling, mismanaging, or just really just treating and disrespecting these women, that's what he's gonna do when he grow up. 9 times out of 10. Yes, there's no one size fit all. Not not every son follows in the footsteps of his father. Some sons actually see the negativity of their father and say, "Hey, that is not going to be my life. I am not following in his footsteps. I'm going to take my life on a different journey and become better, be better, have more, and be the man that I'm supposed to be in spite of the negativity that my father may have had." I want to salute to these young men who are really doing what's right. These young men are, in the face of adversity, in the face of so many distractions and different things that are um, accessible to them. I want to shout out to the young man who's really staying on the right path. I want to talk about a situation that I had in my life. When I was in high school, I was a star football player, star basketball player, and I had a high school football coach my freshman year, and we connected. Man, I even connected so much with this young man that I started calling him like my dad. And in the presence of me growing up with, with that void of my father, I really connected with him on the same level I would as if he was my biological father. And so we got close, we connected. He was my father figure in my life. And then at the end of the football season, he was called to get an opportunity to coach in another city. You can only imagine how much that crushed me. Like I had finally made myself vulnerable. I finally found somebody who I can connect with and build with and share with. And now he was leaving. And so that void continued on, and it made the void in my life even much more. So I started acting out. I started to hate authority figures. I couldn't see the importance of listening because nobody really cared. And so as I went on through high school, I was a star player again. I got to my senior year, but I imploded. I had anger issues. I couldn't deal with coaches. I couldn't get along with other players. I was becoming, even though I was very talented, I became a distraction to my team. And so I said all that to say that if you're a coach, a mentor, anybody who has the ability to connect with these children, be careful and don't take that relationship for granted because you don't know how much you really mean to that person. That young man might look up to you as if you're his biological father. And I don't hate the decision that he made. He went on to make some great decisions. He went on to be a great coach. But nonetheless, it did affect me in a way that hurt me. But I was able to move on. After I went down a dark path, I went through certain situations, but I was able to bounce back. I'm able to live a life that's um, healthy now. I'm able to build good relationships. I'm able to do different things because I went through the process of dealing with my emotions, dealing with the hurt, the pain. This is one topic that we really just now starting to get into is me being able to talk to a therapist. Mental health really matters. As men, as we say over and over, we would talk all day. Who wants to talk to a psychiatrist? Who wants to talk to a therapist? Men don't do that. That's feminine. But in today's time, we really starting to step into it and understand that our mental health is valuable. Dealing with some of our past traumas, dealing with our past hurt, give us the opportunity to start making better decisions. Fathers, if you just really want to make a big impact, please let them know it's okay. Try it yourself. Lead by example. Because the difference between having a healthy mental health and a bad one is a life that's one of happy than the one that's destructive. So today we were talking about 5 tips that every father should have. I'm gonna go back to the first one. The first one was lead by example. Know and understand that you are your son's first role model. They're gonna imitate you to the T. So be careful. Are you leaving a legacy? Are you living a life that will leave a legacy of positivity? Will you be okay if your son was to turn out exactly how you are today? Lead by example. Number two is your presence is more important than your presence. Your presence of being there, just being in their lives, connecting with them, building that relationship is more important than what you can provide for them financially. Is financially providing important? Yes, but it's not the most important. More important is you being there for them, sharing with them, participating in some of the things that they enjoy. Number two was your presence is more important than your presence. Number three, teach them how to feel, not only how to fight. Again, we're talking about mental health. We're talking about dealing with their emotions in a healthy way. Because if you don't deal with them in a healthy way, it normally turns into anger. Anger turns into bad decisions that take you down prison, take you into abusive relationships, take you down a path that you do not want to be a part of. So it's important that as fathers, we one deal with it with ourselves and then share with our children in order to teach them how to feel, not only how to fight. Next one was speak life into them. Use your words to encourage, uplift, and inspire your sons. They need it. There's so much negativity. There's so many things that they can face. They're already facing enough. In schools, we know that they're bullying. There so much things. But if we teach them that they are enough at home, they don't have to search for their value out in the streets. They don't have to search for value in another person. They don't have to search for value in all the wrong places. If we provide that in a safe place within our own homes. So please speak life into your sons. And the last one, number five, was be careful how you treat his mom. Because again, how you treat his mother is how you're teaching them how to treat all women. Treat women with respect. Treat his mother with respect. Even if she's not respecting you, you got to go back to their emotional intelligence in order to know and understand that you don't have to do to others what they do to you. Yes, you might have to move around. You might have to distance yourself from the situation, but you don't have to respond. You can react in a way that's both positive and healthy, even in tough situations. That's when we are showing by example how to handle those tough situations. And so on today, I just want to say that I hope everybody got something valuable from these 5 tips. That something that I said today was something that you could take with you even after this conversation, even after this message, and really apply to your life. Because at the end of the day, knowledge without application is just information. So with that, I want to say again, thank you, Deborah D. Smith, and the Build Your Best Life platform. Make sure you get her book. You can reach out to me on all social media platforms. On Facebook is Deric Deric C Durden Durden. Also on Instagram is also Deric Deric C Durden Durden. On TikTok is Deric Deric D90. And you can just reach out to me if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for somebody to speak at schools, at conferences, um, I travel, and just really going to bring a message that can be powerful and impactful to not only the students, but to teachers, to parents all across the United States. And I'm just really here to pour into you guys. I hope that you have a great night, that this message fills you, and that builds your best life.